Welcome back to Near Post Flick On. What is going on with all these managerial sackings? I have a question. Is football running out of talented managers? I mean, I just can't explain why managers just getting sacked left, right, and centre. And these are high profile, highly skilled, highly talented managers that aren't given the opportunities to actually do their job. I mean, we've had Enzo Maresca get sacked, and he's been replaced by Liam Rossiter he seems like a fairly talented manager. He's still a young manager, but the question is, will he be given a tossy? Because these owners and these chairmans, they don't seem to give these managers time. And for me, it just feels as though football is running out of talented managers. Or is it a case of managers not given the time to blossom? Now, if you look back at, let's say, Man United, for argument's sake, and we go back to the Sir Alex Ferguson era, now he came to Man United in 1986. It took him 5 6 years before he started enjoying any type of success. Now, if he didn't win anything in his first season, his second season, in his third season, in this modern era, he would have been sacked. He definitely would have been sacked by Man United because there isn't any patience. Everything's urgent. You need to deliver a result now. Managers aren't given the time to kind of build a squad and build a team, a solid team. They're just getting sacked. They're not being afforded any grace to build a team or do anything. Now, Alex Ferguson wouldn't have had that longevity that he did because he wouldn't have been able to build the team. And if you look at his career, throughout his career, Ferguson's always built it. He's always built a team like generation after generation after generation, decade after decade. He's always been afforded that time to build a team. He'll build a team, they're successful, they will have back-to-back successes, and then a team will come in and win the league or outperform them, and then he'll go back to the drawing board, then he'll build a team again. And that was his strategy. But he was being backed by the board and he was being backed by the chairman, and he was afforded that ability and the opportunity to be able to build a team to his specification. It wasn't always a case of, oh, the board or a director of football will go out and say, okay, yeah, I've bought this player from this team. Now you have to manage them, or you've got to coach that player. He was meticulous in the way he approached the game and how he organized his squad. So he usually got who he wanted. But in today's modern game, managers aren't, or coaches, head coaches, if you like, aren't given the opportunity to develop a squad and and kind of mold that squad. And anytime they look like they are performing or getting to some level of consistency, they get sacked. Now, Amarin, he's been at Man United for 14 months or so. Yeah, and he's been sacked by Manchester United. He hasn't been given an opportunity to mold a squad, to build a squad to his own specification, and so it can have his own blueprint. And then just getting rid of managers left, right, and centre. And I think that's ruining football. Yes, you will always have managerial sackings. It's part of the game, but the problem is that it's just too frequent. It's happening too often. You're bringing a manager in through the door to make a change, to make a difference, but you're not giving them time to settle in. You're sacking them too quickly. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me, I just think it's ruining the game because managers should be given opportunities. Now, look at Frank Lampard when he was at Chelsea as a manager. They got rid of him. They didn't give him any chance to build anything. They got rid of him because he didn't deliver in the time frame that Chelsea wanted. So they sacked his ass. Now, look at what he's doing at Coventry. Of course, he's been able to do his 10,000 hours of managerial apprenticeship, if you like. And he seems to have kind of used that experience to get to where he's at now at Coventry. And he's been doing phenomenal at Coventry. The proof is in the pudding. Give them time to build, give them time to develop, give them time to kind of, enforce their own football ideology and let them impact their teams. But if you're putting pressures on managers, and yes, it does come with the territory, but if you're putting pressures on managers and young managers, how in the hell are they going to develop if you're not giving them a chance? If you look at Arteta's been at Arsenal for a few years now. Now, if the board had listened to the chants of the Arsenal supporters saying, Arteta out, every other weekend when things weren't going right, Arsenal wouldn't be at the top of the league at the moment with that same manager. If the board had caved in to the demands and the wishes of the fans, Arsenal would not be in the position that they're in at the moment. So that's testament, whether you're an Arsenal fan, whether you agree or you disagree, that's testament to the board for sticking by their man and giving him that opportunity to build a team that he wants. You know, backing him in the transfer window to bring in players that he wants, not players that they want, players that he wants, players that he's scouted or his team has scouted and given him that opportunity to be able to develop. And now Arsenal are reaping the rewards of that decision, of that action. And I think a lot of managers, well, a lot of teams should take an example out of that, you know, and just give managers some time. There's no point in bringing in someone and then sacking them by, you know, in 10 days or 20 days or whatever the case may be, or 1 year or 2 year or whatever the case may be. Now look at Man United. Now they've gotten rid of Amarin, which is stupid because Man United are actually, what, top 5, top 6 when they sacked him? And it looked like the team was starting to perform. They were starting to perform, but they've gotten rid of him now. Darren Fletcher stepped up as interim manager, and now there's speculation saying they're going to go back to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who they got rid of. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you bring back Solskjaer, how long are you going to keep him for? Another year, 2 year maybe? And then you're going to sack him. You know, nobody's going to fill the shoes, the boots of Alex Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson. No one's never going to fill those boots. So you can forget about that. You're not going to go on a 10-year, 20-year run of winning trophies back to back to back. That era is done. It's over. Forget about it. What you want to do is invest in a manager and actually give him time, whether it's 3 years or 4 years or 4 years. Give him that time. Give him that grace. You know, after 4 years, and just let them see what they let them influence that team. You know, I'm not saying, you know, if the manager's about to get you relegated, then of course you've got to take drastic actions. But I think Man United this season have made vast improvements under Amarin, and I just think it was unfair for the board to sack him whilst they were on an upward trajectory, and it's just a disappointment. But I just think modern managers just aren't given time to be able to do anything. And how are you going to kind of, you know, increase and develop your skills if these teams aren't giving you the chance? I just think it's killing the game, in my opinion, because now you're running out of talented managers. You know, you're running out of managers because you keep sacking them all. You're running out of managers. At this rate, there will be no manager left. I might have to put in an application form. I might have to go and do my FA badges so I can become a manager, because at the end of the day, in the next 5-10 years time, there won't be any talented managers. And, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame. But my cry is give managers time to do a job. You know, give them time to do a job. As I say, if they're going to get the team relegated, yeah, get rid of them. But if you can see that there's some potential, then give them the time. Let them work on that project. That's why you've hired them. You're giving them 4 or 5 year contracts. Let them see out their 4 or 5 year contracts, you know. Vet the managers properly when you're interviewing them before you give them the job. There's no point in giving them the job if you're going to sack them on a, you know what I mean? You hire them on a Monday and you sack them on a Sunday. It doesn't make any sense. Give them time. That's how I feel about the situation. Let me know how you feel about the situation. But for now, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.